What's up, party people? It's me, Shanila, and welcome back to another episode of the Playground Podcast. Now, today I want you to be very honest with me. I wonder if you're somebody who's really good at helping other people. Like, you're the best at helping others, but you are trash at receiving help and support yourself. And if so, welcome to the healer's paradox. We're going to be talking about this paradoxical thing that many people who are in the healing arts, especially if you identify as somebody who's a coach, a nurse, a therapist, a doctor, a doula, a sound healer, a breathwork facilitator, you're somebody who's in the helping profession. You are notoriously known as somebody who's a giver and an under receiver. Okay, so if this is already triggering for you and if this is already something that you know you're working through, I'd love for you to get cozy. I'd love for you to get comfortable. I'd love for you to grab your tea, grab your kitties, hit subscribe, and let's get into this chat. Now, the reason that many of you and many people who get into the healing arts is that you have such a desire from your heart to help. Right? You know what it's like to not be helped, and you know what it's like to feel not good. You're probably somebody who's dealt with trauma and adversities and emotional dysfunction and so many other things that you've probably experienced in your life. And you come to this moment where you're like, I don't want other people to go through this either. I don't want people to have suffering in their life. So I'm going to go out of my way to help. I'm going to be in service. I'm going to put together group programs. I'm going to be somebody who shows up. I'm going to be somebody who's building communities. I'm going to do all of these different things. And that work truly, deeply comes from your heart, except when it's time for you to be held in spaces that are also created for you to let go and to release and be vulnerable in. And that becomes the healer's paradox, because you actually don't understand that you become an unsafe healer when you are somebody who's not able to be held. You're somebody who's always holding, but you're not somebody who's going to be vulnerable enough to let down your guard, to say what is actually upsetting you and the things that you're actually insecure about, but you're there to help others because you're so good at pointing your fingers and finding the issue and troubleshooting and problem solving and doing all of those things for other people. But when it's your turn, forget about it. Now all the vulnerability is like, nah, I don't feel safe to be held by others. I don't feel seen to be held by others. I feel like they're going to disappoint me. I feel like they're not going to know what to do, what to say. I feel like I tried that one time and I was let down and I was, disappointed. And perhaps there's a part of you that has built a wall to be self-sufficient. And I want you to understand that this type of self-sufficiency that is so common in healers is actually a survival technique. It's a survival mechanism, and it actually helped you survive. So it's not this like big, bad, nasty thing that you have like, survival defense mechanism. Survival techniques and survival mechanisms are for you to be able to survive. So it's amazing that you have these things. But now that you're in a place where you're creating safety within your nervous system, safety within your emotions, safety within your energetic and somatic body, safety within people, safety within communities that you exist in, safety within nature and the ancestral ancient spirits, the elemental spirits. Now that you're understanding a different layer of safety, this behavior is still kind of in the residue. It's still running some of the programming in the background. And in fact, people can't trust you because they can smell this from you. They know that you're saying, come get help. Everybody should, have a healer, have a mentor, have a this, have a that. You're not practicing what you preach. So if everybody should have a healer, then where are yours? If everybody should go to therapy, then who's your therapist? If everybody should do somatic work, then where are the people that you are doing somatic work with? Where are the spaces that you're existing in that body and demonstrate the fact that you are in the walk of your practice rather than you just talking about it, right? And this feels very itchy because if we don't know each other, I'm the founder of the Healing Arts Academy, and I've been training breathwork facilitators, sound healers, and mentoring aspiring healers for well over a decade now. And in my work, we come across thousands of people who are from helping professions. We have people who are the therapists, you're the social workers, you're the nurses, you're the doulas, you're the coaches, you're the mentors, you're the transformational leaders, you're writing grants for programs to support youth and college students. You're just like fucking badass in so many different ways, but you're also too self-sufficient. You're just used to getting it done yourself. That survival mechanism where you had to do everything by yourself, for yourself, in order to just get shit done, it is kind of holding you back from your next iteration of what it is that you're meant to share with the world right now. And that requires softening. And I hate that, you hate that, and I hate that too. But it requires softening. It requires vulnerability. It requires tenderness. It requires transparency. And it requires you to tell the truth about where it is that you actually are with your emotions. Because sometimes you are really, really, really amazing at the work that you do. And most of you are. Most of you are so many years into your work where you've done so much of your inner work, but you still lack the ability to be held, to be vulnerable, to talk about an insecurity, to talk about a fear because you're trying to hold it together. Because if I talk about a fear or an insecurity, then all of a sudden it means that I'm not the authority, or I'm not this person that I'm posturing to be. And now what you're actually doing is that you're putting on a performance. You're performing being okay. You're performing not needing help. You're performing being the person who is self-sufficient, hyper-independence. And in fact, what that does to your nervous system, from a nervous system level and an energetic level, is that it actually puts you into hyper-aroused state of being. Hyper-aroused state meaning that if we want to be here in the middle, we want to be in this calm flow state, our body, when it shuts down, it goes into a hypo-aroused state. But when it's overdoing, overachieving, overfunctioning, it's something called hyperarousal. So when you're in this hyperactivated state of being, you're actually not able to see that you're in a hyperactivated state of being. It feels like your default. It feels normal. It feels normal for you to not need anything, not need anybody. And your body actually feels really threatened when it tries to let go. It tries to, experience a moment of vulnerability with a person, or it tries to experience a moment of receiving support or getting help or to be held in any kind of shape or form, whether it's in your business or your career or your relationship or your friendships, or even just like a moment with a stranger where somebody offers help and you're just like, no, I'm fine. Like, I'll do this by myself. There's a part of you that is so used to being self-sufficient that it actually thinks that it's a threat that if you were not self-sufficient. And this is so interesting, especially for my type A folks, especially for my high achievers, especially for the folks who got shit done by being high achievers and being high performers. It's like, what do you mean I need to soften? What do you mean I need to let go? What do you mean intuition? What do you mean all of this kind of woo-woo, wah-wah, esoteric, softy, hippie kind of energy? What do you mean? It doesn't feel safe. But what your body's actually indicating to you in that moment in time is that you're used to existing in a very closed off structure. You're used to existing and performing in a patriarchal system, in a capitalized system, in a way that requires performance out of you. So when you stop performing and you're like, wait a second, I could be really fucking good at what I do, and still yet I need to cry in somebody's arms. And I could be so good at seeing all the troubles of other people and knowing exactly what moves to make, but I'm unwilling to let that be true for someone else to do that for me too. Because part of me actually mistrusts whether or not they're being kind as they're holding me, whether or not they have my best interest as they're holding me, whether I think that I'm smarter than them and I could do their job better than them, and can I still show up to be held by them in a certain way? And that's such the paradox, because you're fucking good at what you do, right? That's the trap. That's the duality of many things existing at the same time, is that you are so good at what you do that when you allow somebody else who's also good at what they do to do it for you, you're judging, you're discriminatory, you're preventing yourself from actually fully receiving, because you're preventing yourself from feeling the disappointment. Because the quality and caliber of work that you do for others, you want that from other people, and people do let you down too, But, and also, there are people who are holding space at a really high caliber for you that actually requires your body to soften. Okay? And that word for a lot of people, it registers as give up. To soften is to I don't care. I don't have any kind of discernment on who I'm allowing space to be held by, or where I'm going, how, It doesn't mean that you still have discernment capabilities. You should be suspicious. You should be smelling the smell. You should be looking out, doing your due diligence for all of that. And also, to trust that we are all reflections and mirrors of each other. And whatever part of you doesn't feel worthy to be held, worthy to be supported, worthy of breaking down and collapsing and not having to hold it all together all the time, or to know all the answers all the time, or to pretend like you are having an experience when you're not having that experience, so that you can drop the mask. When you're presented with those moments, your body will react. So the paradox of it all is that when you have that in your awareness, you already know that your body's craving that. That's something that is very true for me because of the fact that I train and I mentor thousands of healers at any given year. There's so many deep, high-level work that we're doing behind the scenes. There's so many facilitators and practitioners that we're supporting to step into their gifts. We're doing all of these different things in the Healing Arts Academy, and yet I am also still a human being that has my own shit to do. You know, every day it's another thing. The world is also existing around me. Life is also moving forward for me. There's also insecurities that come up, life changes, hormone changes, family, age, this thing, that thing. All of these things are true for me as a human too. So what does that look like for me to allow myself to be held in certain spaces? And I'm very easy to ask for help. So I knew this about myself and from the start that I don't like receiving the help. So that meant that I need to go find the places where I feel safe to receive the help, where I feel safe to be held and to seen and to be listened to without being judged. And then I can drop the performance that I am this leader, I'm a this, and I'm a that. Yes, and also a person, a human that requires support, that requires safety to break down and collapse and to express human things that are true and real for me. The vulnerability of it. And does that make me a worse leader, a worse mentor, a worse healer, a worse facilitator, a worse fill in the blank of the 30 other titles and labels that I wear for myself on a day-to-day basis? Does it make me worse at that if I let other people support me and help me? And I'm the first in my present chapters of my life or the last several years of my life to say, help me with this. I need support with this. Can you see me? Can you reflect with me? Can you mirror back to me what it is that you're experiencing from me? Because as much as we are good at validating ourselves and self-validating and self-love, this, self, the human is not meant to be by themselves. We didn't come here as a one body, one vessel. We came here as multiple expressions of different vessels who are also walking each other home too. And that self-sufficiency, even though it is beautiful to have, myself being single for 11 years, self-sufficient, independent, and also hello, I need help, I need friends, I need community. I want people to, validate me sometimes too, and to give support and, and share what they receive from my essence and being in my stratosphere. How they're experiencing me too, sorry, human, sorry, that's that piece of it too. And that self-sufficiency piece is so tender to admit. I just want to be held. I just want to express something really yucky and something that feels like, I'm supposed to posture that I don't have this problem. No. For the last 6 years that we've been talking inside the Playground podcast, first couple of times that we are on YouTube now, but you have been here with me where we're saying we don't have all the answers. But if we're going to be so rigid in how it is that we're allowing other people to give to us with discernment, not open energy, mix and match and doing all that shit, with discernment, we're actually allowing ourselves to feel safer. Because isn't it so nice when someone offers you help and offers you support and offers you different ways to, connect to yourself? When you don't have to posture like you're the leader or you're the know-it-all or you're the this and that, because you play that role already. People already come to you for answers. People already come to you for guidance. You are a fucking channel. People already think that you're reading their mind all the time. And sometimes that gets you in trouble, at least me, And so when you are in this moment of being that person for others, there has to be other energies around you that are that for you. And seasons will change. You will outgrow support systems. You will outgrow mentors. You will outgrow the information or the energy that is being held in a certain space that is good for you to do that. Don't be stagnant in like needing the same thing forever and ever and ever and ever. Is to say, yeah, like in this season of my life, like what is it that I actually need space held for? What is it that I actually need space for? And sometimes it's like, I need space to break down. And sometimes it's, I need space to build up. Or I'm already built up and I just need space to go, right? And there's different variations of that you're welcome to explore and to be real about it. Because if this is a breakdown season for you and you're somebody who's in the healer's paradox of holding it together for others, especially with the trash and the world fires and all the collective energy that is, perhaps you do need to have a space to break down. You need to unclench, you need to collapse all the systems, break down the thought process, break down the limiting beliefs, break down all the different things that feel like it's no longer in alignment for you. And you need a space to do that. Yeah, then that's your path. And you feel like you already did all of that, now you're in the rebuild phase, then you also need support that allows that to happen as you're in your process of unbecoming. So when you're coming back into your own essence, your own voice, your own energy, understanding different things about your own life experiences, you're integrating all this information, yeah, do it with people who are also doing that. Not just by yourself in isolation, which is something that you're already used to, but what does it actually mean to be in the embodiment of all the information that you collected? So that might be part of your process. Perhaps you're like, no, I feel fully integrated. Now I'm in flow. I'm in an embodiment of all of this stuff. So I'm just going to go. And you also need to be around people who are doing that too. Because see, these are different stages and you might be in any part of that spectrum, and it's a reiterative process. So even if you've done this once or twice already, you might be at square one again. You know, it's like how beautiful that there's this beautiful spiral that keeps going and going and going. And then we get to relive and reconfigure and rewind time essentially to do it in a different way next time. So wherever it is that you are, look at that paradox for yourself, because that self-sufficiency shows up with a different font every single time. It shows up in a different way every single time. Because the first time it showed up that way, but this time the self-sufficiency, you thought you were like able to receive, but you're still not. You're only able to receive at the capacity of your nervous system, at the capacity of your energetic body. So when you expand your capacity, you extend the emotional way that you're able to navigate and deal with feedback and being mirrored and being reflected. That also changes your energy too. That changes how you show up. That changes what you make, how you create, how you move through in the world. And that's the beautiful journey we see with all the healers and practitioners who come that are aspiring to be practitioners, and also those who already are practitioners. Now, what does it mean for you to really be an embodiment of your practice? And sometimes it's like, actually, you're not on a practitioner's journey just yet. You're really in like your own discovery of like, wait a second, maybe I think I want to facilitate and practice, certain things for other people, but I'm really just here doing it for myself too. And that's a beautiful part of that puzzle as well. All of these pieces are needed, but the end result of this is that if we aren't willing to surrender, to be held, to be seen, it actually makes us more dangerous practitioners and facilitators for other people. Because we're saying, hey, come to my room to be vulnerable and I'll see you and I'll hold you. But I don't actually know how to do that myself. I don't know how to be vulnerable and tender and open and break down the walls anywhere else. And when I try to do it for myself, by myself, with myself, I can only go so far. There's a limiter, there's a cap to that's as far as I can go. So if you find yourself in this moment where you recognize this about yourself, I love that for you. I celebrate this for you so hard, because that already makes you a way better trauma-informed person in general, a person who's going to be a safer space, a person who's going to understand what it means to co-create safety with other people in spaces that you hold and facilitate, and a person who's going to be able to navigate your own needs as you grow up as a person. So if there's certain things that you're wanting help and support with, you're going to be able to find your way into the right places at the right time, in the moment in time when you need it. Okay? Friends, I hope this conversation helps you out. If you're not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. And just remember, the world is your playground. And until next time, I will catch you soon.